right, so let's go back to the M1 and surrounds here in Johannesburg. Earlier, of course, we were giving you the information that the municipal union, SAMWU, demanding to see the mayor, had decided to block the M1 South. Let's bring in our second reporter on this story, Aviwe Mtila. You're coming to us live from Braamfontein, which, of course, is just a little bit away from the M1. It's an area that would, of course, be impacted. What are you seeing there? What information do you have for us?
Evening, Sally, and I'm on Empire Road. In fact, that's a street away from the M1. It's quite heavily trafficked there. People going to Soweto. You'd understand, of course, the implication of that protest action. But we've heard, in fact, well, we were coming here ourselves. We got stuck in a bit of traffic. That's now starting to be alleviated. You can see that the roads are opening up a bit, and the people are actually seeking different routes heading home to Soweto. So this is one of the routes that they were using. But we've had word from Port Condemnation, that is, of course, from the South African Municipal Workers Union, who suggests that they are now putting their tools down for today in terms of the protest action, and they might come back then tomorrow. That's the word that we got from Port Condemnation, suggesting that they'll be at the city of Johannesburg. You understand that these are the workers that are demanding decent wages, of course, to the newly reinstated mayor of Johannesburg, Paul Palazza. So suggesting that they'll continue then tomorrow, giving indication that tonight they're stopping with the protest action. But of course, my colleague Pulele Jones is still stuck in heavy traffic at this moment, but it's opening up in and around Braamfontein, where there was initially heavy congestion as well, as people try to make their way home.
All right. So absolutely, Aviwe, thanks for that update from Braamfontein. I'm bringing in Pulele Jones now. So Pule, I'm seeing police officers. What's happening? Has the municipal blockade ended?
Well, you know, as you understand now, we saw members of the Metro Police Department as well as those from the Johannesburg pick it up, and members of the police trying to now clean up this road, which was filled with rubbish, dirty tires, rubble, amongst others, which means which could have been used to ensure destruction in the city of Johannesburg. For now, the Johannesburg mayor, Palazza, is nowhere to be seen. I understand Sally, you and the team have been trying to get hold of her, but that has not been fruitful. On the other hand, what we understand, we see the traffic jam that's still continuing here. I'm going to ask my colleague Asanda Java to show you, and pan on my left-hand side. You can see that the traffic is still quite heavy, congested. Trucks are still trying to make their way out to the nearest destination. These are motorists who some are coming from work, and they now caught in this traffic here on the M1 freeway, and they cannot be, able to take any alternative routes for now, but to just go with the flow of making sure they're directed by police officials and subsequently led into an interchange which could safely lead them home. Sally, I don't know if we have the bite ready, but earlier on we spoke to the Soweto Parliament as well, who were here, who were saying that they've condemned this, particularly having spoken to SAMWU as well, and that they had a speaker with the City Council earlier on. But before we go to that part, I just want to allow my colleague Asanda Javo to move in closely into the shot here, where you can see that members of the Metro Police Department in Johannesburg, and police officials are trying to, distinguish this fire here using means of sand as well.
Okay, we are going to play that bite in just one moment as they try and extinguish that burning tyre. Are you where the municipal workers were gathered? Have they all left? I just want to clarify.
Yeah, they have all left right now. We're here where they were gathered, where scores of SAMWU workers were gathered. In fact, I remember earlier on, you'd remember too, there was a huge truck that was blocking this road here. And they said that they vowed to come back tomorrow. So this means that the Joburg Mayor, Palazza, has a task ahead alongside the mayor, because you understand she's currently as well in the mayoral committee meeting. But she has a large task ahead to ensure they speak to SAMWU workers who say that they're heading into the festive season. They really don't have much, and all they want is their money. All they want is to fend for their family, which, one would say does make sense, that they have every right to actually ask for their money, because they depend on this money. Their kids depend on this money to go to school. This is the money they use for their daily lives. However, the way in which this matter was resolved is quite problematic, and hopefully this can be addressed to say, how do they resolve this table, sitting down on a table and essentially reach an amicable agreement, both parties being the city of Joburg and SAMWU workers. So, let's just take a listen to what Nhlanhla Lux had to say earlier on.
The government of the day must understand its people. The government of the day must understand that people are not going to resort to lawyers because they don't have lawyers. They'll resort to their most powerful tool, which is most of the time destruction. So to avoid destruction, come and see the people. Again, I don't want to be seen as if I'm attacking people, but the truth must be told. Our leaders are not intentional, they're not deliberate, and that's why we've got this chaos. I've been here for 6 hours with Soweto Parliament and Alexandra Parliament, manning the traffic, rerouting people, directing people. Some people don't have petrol. We've been asking from some people that, can you please give me 100 rand for this lady, for that lady, they're with a kid. It's just disastrous. So we're saying that the root cause of this problem is poor leadership in our government of the day, and in this particular instance, in the city of Johannesburg.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Nhlanhla Lux was formerly linked to Operation Dudula, a fairly xenophobic approach to politics. He's blaming it on leadership. The reality is you cannot go about discussing your problems this way. It is not acceptable. These are people who have jobs, who have structures, frustrated as they may be. And what they did was illegal. So I have to ask, were any arrests made, to your knowledge, Pule?
To my knowledge, I haven't seen any statements from the SAPS and Gauteng. Quite unfortunately, earlier on we were with the police commissioner, Elias Mawela. Had we had the opportunity, we would have asked him, but we were only made aware of this just around 2 p.m. after we had, of course, broken apart with the police commissioner. We don't know of any arrests that have been made yet. No statement. I do, however, know there was a statement earlier on released by the JMPD, Johannesburg Metro Police Department, condemning this act, but mostly as well trying to sway motorists coming from work in a different direction to say they need to use alternative routes. But surely there has to be some accountability for this. It cannot be, like I said, Sally, where when members cannot resort to other alternatives, they block the M1 freeway. Johannesburg, the city hub of the province and of course of the country, and surely there must be other rightful means to ensuring that they can resolve these issues. However, tomorrow will be, the test of everything when someone again comes back to the city of Johannesburg and expresses their anger because, like my colleague Aviwe Mtila said, they've vowed to continue with this violent protest tomorrow, and hopefully this time around police officials will be on standby to curb this before it gets out of hand.
I have to ask you, while we're talking about tomorrow, I've just spoken to Kevin Allen of Municipal IQ, and he said there's very likely going to be a motion of no confidence vote in Mayor Mpho Phalatse. You've obviously kept an eye on that story. What can you tell us? Is that motion going to go ahead tomorrow? We've heard that the DA might challenge it if they try. What is the latest that you're hearing on that?
Well, I can confirm, Sally, just about a few minutes ago I had spoken to the Speaker, Colleen Makubelo, as well, from the city of Johannesburg, and what they'd said here is that, and I'm going to read it to you carefully, they had, of course, said and issued a statement to say that no motion will be tabled tomorrow. In fact, this motion will only be heard on the 23rd of November, this coming month end, in order to remove, of course, the mayor of Johannesburg. That's as far as we understand. That's the latest update we've received. And I'm sure right now this is currently what the mayoral committee led by Mpho Phalatse, who's the executive in the city, are currently discussing as to what kind of, situation could unfold in council tomorrow. One of which is the hotly debated issue around the 2 billion rand loan, which could potentially be approved by the city of Johannesburg. And we know that the minority parties are really against this. They've been fuming to say they're going to challenge this in council tomorrow. So that's one issue that will be spoken about. But we can surely say that we understand there won't be any motion rather against Speaker against the Johannesburg Mayor, Mpho Phalatse, in the city. That's been confirmed by the Speaker. But we also now understand that the Councillor of MMC of Transport, Belinda, has also spoken about this on Twitter, saying this is an ANC operation to reclaim Johannesburg. Make no mistake, it's no random, it's carefully orchestrated, and ANC will claim to know nothing about it. Just watch. That's one of the MMCs as well, who's Belinda, who's on that mayoral committee team in the city of Johannesburg, alleging that the ANC could potentially be behind this destruction that took place today here in the city of Johannesburg. That's one story brought up by the multi-party coalition member as well. So it'll be interesting to see if this will be another issue raised in Council of Johannesburg tomorrow. But apart from that, let me just step aside from shots so you can continue to see these visuals as members of JMPD alongside members of JRA pick it up, trying to restore everything to normality as well.
Yeah, and we're just going to say goodbye to you now, and thank you so much for bringing us the update. But if you could just ask your camera person to swing to the traffic that is still backlogged for some way. The SAMWU strikes and the blockade has ended, but the M1 that's the M1 North, it seems, is still heavily backed up. So a lot of the traffic obviously had to be diverted away from the M1 South. Still lots of backlog there. Thank you so much, Pulele Tweety-Jones, who's on the M1, and also speaking a little earlier, and you could see those shots, Aviwe Mtila, he's been in Braamfontein, where a lot of people obviously they move onto and off the highway in Braamfontein, and there has been a fair amount of disruption there as well. But one thing we know for sure is that blockade has ended. Traffic chaos will continue for some time, and it has now been confirmed by Pulele Tweety-Jones that the motion of no confidence that might have happened tomorrow in the Joburg Council is not going to happen. It's likely to happen around the 23rd of November.